Your name?
Homer Herbert VanFleet,
Occupation?
private investigator.
What was your last assignment?
Shadowing Mr. Bjorn Faulkner.
By whom were you hired to do so?
By Mrs. Bjorn Faulkner.
Were you shadowing Mr. Faulkner on the night of January 16th?
I was.
Kindly tell us about it.
I start at 6:13 p.m. Mr. Faulkner leaves home at Long Island, wears formal dress suit, drives roads for himself, alone, unusual speeds all the way to New York.
Where does he go?
He drives to the Faulkner building and goes in. Wait outside, in my car. 9:35 p.m. Mr. Faulkner comes out of the penthouse with Miss Andre. Miss Andre is wearing a corsage of orchids of unusual proportions, and they drive away.
Where do they go?
Well, you know, Mr. Flint, no one's perfect in this world.
What do you mean?
I lost track of them.
You did what?
Due to Mr. Faulkner's speed and an accident.
What accident?
My left fender crashing into a truck and damages which charged to Mrs. Faulkner.
What did you do when you lost them?
I returned to the Faulkner building and waited.
When did they return?
10:30 p.m. exactly. The gray coupe follows them. Mr. Faulkner helps Miss Andre out of the car. While Miss Andre is ringing the doorbell, Mr. Faulkner opens the door of the gray coupe. Handsome gentleman in formal clothes steps out, and together they help out a third gentleman. The latter wearing a gray overcoat. This gentleman shows signs of inebriation.
Then what did you do?
I left my car and went to Gary's Grill. I must explain, I always allow myself time for nourishment every 4 hours while on duty. After that, I sat at the window and watched the door of the Faulkner building.
What did you observe?
Nothing. Oh, for 15 minutes. Then the man in the gray overcoat, the tipsy one, stops the car, the gray coupe. So, obviously in a hurry, drives away south.
And did you see that other guest of Miss Andre's leave too?
The handsome guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 10 minutes later. He gets into a car which stands at the curb and then drives away south.
Had you ever seen Mr. Faulkner with these two men before?
No, first time I ever saw him.
What did you do when they left?
I wait. Mr. Faulkner is now alone in the penthouse with Miss Andre. I'm pretty curious. Professional. So, I went to a nightclub on the roof of the Brooks building. There's a gallery off the dining room where you can see the Faulkner penthouse clear as day. I go out.
Then what?
I look.
Then what?
I yell.
What did you see?
No lights. Karen Andre's white gown, shimmering in the moonlight. A man in evening clothes. Faulkner, leaning against the parapet. She pushes him with all her strength. He falls over the parapet, down into space.
Then what did you do?
I went back into the dining room and yelled about what I'd seen. The crowd followed me down to the Faulkner building. Found a bloody mess on the pavement with Miss Andre sobbing over it. Fit to kill.
Thank you. Your witness.
Can you tell us, Mr. VanFleet, when you started in the employ of Mrs. Faulkner?
October 13th last.
Can you tell us the date of Mr. and Mrs. Faulkner's wedding?
October 12th, the day before.
Exactly. Just the day before. In other words, Mrs. Faulkner hired you to spy on her husband just the day after their wedding.
So it seems.
Had Mr. Faulkner been calling on Miss Andre?
I don't know. I went to the Faulkner building every day. He may have gone up to his office, he may have gone up to the penthouse, or Miss Andre may have gone down his office. I don't know what's customary.
Did you report that to Mrs. Faulkner?
I did.
Did she seem worried?
Don't believe so. Mr. Faulkner was the most devoted of husbands and loved his wife dearly.
Just how do you know that?
Those are Mrs. Faulkner's own words. Big bozo.
Mr. VanFleet, can you tell us how long what time you started up to the balcony of the nightclub atop the Brooks building on the evening of January 16th?
11:32 exactly.
How long a walk is it from the Faulkner building to the Brooks building?
3 minutes, give or take.
What time did you come out on the balcony?
11:57.
So it took you exactly 25 minutes to reach the balcony. what were you doing the rest of the time?
Well, you know, they have a dancing at the club and other things.
Did you partake of the other things?
I had a couple of drinks, if I understand the drift of your curiosity. But you can't say I was intoxicated.
I have said nothing of the kind, as yet. Now, you saw Miss Andre pushing Faulkner off the roof, and it was a little distance away in the dark, and you were, well, let's say you had a couple of drinks.
The drinks had nothing to do with it.
Are you quite certain that you saw her pushing him? Isn't it possible that she was struggling with him?
That's a funny way of struggling.
Mr. VanFleet, can you tell us Mrs. Faulkner's instructions to you before you came here to testify?
Mrs. Faulkner has not been here to instruct me. As everybody knows, Mrs. Faulkner and her father left shortly after Mr. Faulkner's death and have not been heard from since.
Have you heard from them?
I have no record of it.
Mr. VanFleet, can you tell us how much an eyewitness to Mr. Faulkner's murder would be worth to Mrs. Faulkner?
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
Exception. That's all, Mr. VanFleet.
Just a moment, please. Mr. Stevens?
Yes, sir.